What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the first episode of Season 3 of NFL Turf Talk here on DSM Media's Twitter and DSM Media's Turf Talk YouTube channel. So, guys, do us a favor. Make sure to check us out on Twitter at DSM_Media is where you can find us. Hit that follow button and then check out the link tree in our bio. It will take you to every social media platform we're on: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff. But make sure to check out the DSM Media Philadelphia YouTube channel and the DSM Media Turf Talk YouTube channel. It's the best and only spot to get your thoughts, comments, and questions pulled up here with us to kick off Season 3, man. Training camp is underway. Preseason has officially started with the Hall of Fame game, but week 1 of the preseason kicks off tomorrow night, Scotty. We're going to start off Season 3 with some AFC South talk. We're going to get into our tier rankings, see where they line up heading into the 2025 season. We're going to do our fantasy draft at the end of this episode, so stay tuned for that. We're just going to go over this division, standing-wise, thoughts, and more. My man, what is going on? And welcome back to Turf Talk, baby.
Yes, sir. Happy to be back here for Season 3. 3 years at it. Time just flies doing this stuff, but obviously it's our I won't speak for you. It's my favorite time of the year. Right when football, you get into MLB.
One more month.
One more month. You're right. You're right. September approaching October is probably the best time because you get the NBA returning in October. You get MLB playoffs in October. And you get the NFL season like in full go by October as well. So, we're getting into the fun time of the year when it comes to sports and sports coverage. And, man, I'm happy to be back here with you. We're going with the South division, so we're doing the AFC South first. Then we'll come at you guys with the NFC South. It's a starting point. We're getting started. We'll jump into it. This division has some interesting situations, at least we can say. So I'm excited though. NFL's back. I'm just excited to talk it with you, my man.
Yeah, man. So let's start there. This division has a lot of young quarterback talent / question marks. That need to be answered for all the teams, which sounds crazy if you're a team like Jacksonville. I don't really say it has to be answered for a team like Houston. CJ Stroud is a guy, but what kind of guy is he? That's a conversation I want to have as we get deeper into the show. Stephon Diggs departs from Houston this season. Nico Collins for sure, wide receiver 1. Interested to see what they do there. Travis Hunter, Cam Ward, Tyler Warren to the other 3 teams in this division that had higher draft picks because they weren't that good last year. That's why we're getting these teams out of the way. But, my man, the biggest names, the biggest moves, departures, signings, re-signings, what has really taken place over this offseason in the AFC South?
Yeah, man. I mean, you can look across the division. There was some turnover. There was some in-division turnover, like Christian Kirk going from the Jags to the Texans ultimately. Maybe their new slot receiver down there in Houston with Tank Dell coming off an injury. They also drafted 2 wide receivers in the 2nd and 3rd rounds, Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel, whichever one you want to go with. Both rookies. They're 2 rookies that I've seen a lot of draft analysts very high on, very happy with those picks for Houston. And you mentioned Stephon Diggs heading out the door. He heads up to New England, I believe. He says he's still there. I know there was rumors he might get cut.
Wow,
I think that speaks to...
He was on a boat a couple months ago.
So he's doing some fishy things, but that's not Houston's problem anymore. Nope. But then you also look on the other side of the ball. I think that's where they really, really made some good additions, but also brought back the quality players that they had. You look at EJ Speed. He was a linebacker that they brought in via free agency. Sheldon Rankins, CGJ, a guy that we're very familiar with out of Philadelphia. They trade for him. And you ultimately bring back guys like Derek Barnett, Donnell Hunter on the edge, Mario Edwards on the defensive line, Petrie in the secondary, and most importantly, Derek Stingley Jr., their number 1 corner. They also extended, which is obviously huge for them. So Texans made moves across the board. They also brought in 4 offensive linemen via free agency. So trying to secure that front of staff for CJ Stroud, as you mentioned, man. But let's just start there. Let's start at the Texans, man, and let's talk about that guy, CJ Stroud. I mentioned the additions that they're bringing in. Joe Mixon starts the year. He's going to be on the injured list with a foot injury that apparently is going to keep him out for a little bit of time. They brought in Nick Chubb.
They brought in
right?
a seasoned vet, buddy.
Is Nick Chubb, is he washed, or can he bounce back?
back?
This is kind of that season where we find out. Last season wasn't great, coming off of injury. First time away from Cleveland. Let's see what he has. Obviously, he had Dameon Pierce, who was there before Joe Mixon arrived. So talk to me about CJ Stroud, man. Where do you want to start with him? Because it feels like they're securing everything around him right now.
Yeah.
Which is what you have to do for your young quarterback, but then your young quarterback also has to respond. Yeah,
they are building around their franchise guy. And when I talk about CJ Stroud, I don't want to make it seem like I don't think he's a franchise guy.
Yeah.
I think he came into the league his rookie year and was absolutely sensational. They brought in a number one guy, right? Kind of at an older point in his career, in Stephon Diggs last year, but pairing him with Tank Dell and Nico Collins to try to put something together. They brought in Joe Mixon. That offense to me, Scotty, was supposed to be a little bit more prolific, a little bit more high-flying than it was last year. I think my question is, what tier is CJ Stroud? Because people have him in this top 10 conversation already. And you look to last year, 20 touchdowns and 12 picks.
Yeah.
This might be the Eagles fan in me talking, man. But the question is, what level of quarterback is CJ Stroud? Is he a guy that can just manage, can get you to the playoffs, which this is the Texans division still. They won it last year with 10 wins. Or is he a guy that can elevate you? Is he a guy that, along with Nico Collins and this rushing attack, can do damage in the postseason, can compete with a Patrick Mahomes, a Joe Burrow, a Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson? Because that's the goal if you're the Texans, right? You're not trying to just win the AFC South.
Yeah.
You're trying to win everything, and you have to get through those guys to do it. My question is CJ Stroud a guy that can do that?
Yeah, and I mean, I'll give you my honest opinion, but it's just that. It's an opinion. It's nothing that I can prove through 2 seasons. Just like the conversations we've had around Jaden Daniels, right, and him going into his sophomore year and everybody ranking him top 5. Everybody did that with CJ Stroud the year before, man, and it seems like he's still getting a little bit of benefit of doubt even after last season getting included in top 10 conversations because, as you mentioned, 20 touchdowns, 12 interceptions for a non-mobile quarterback, right? He's not a dual threat. Like, that's not in his resume. He can move a little bit, but he's not a dual threat. He can move,
but yeah.
You need more than that through the air, right? And that's what we hear with Jalen Hurts all the time, who actually is a dual threat. Like to use him as a goalpost there. But CJ Stroud, I do believe he has the tools. I just think this is the season where we get the proof in the pudding, whether he has it or not, because we've seen it. You get the rookie year. Nobody knows what you're really going to do with this offense. Maybe you're getting underestimated a little bit as a rookie. You come out, you dominate the field. It's what's new. It's what's in. It's what's trending. And then you get to that sophomore year. People have film. Defenses have film. They analyze it. They understand these second-year quarterbacks' tendencies, and they get figured out a little bit. They come a little bit back down to earth. And I'll give the benefit of doubt to CJ Stroud that that's what happened last season. And I do think he bounces back this year. But he needs to do it. And I do think they have the things in place around him. Obviously, Joe Mixon beat up. That's not that. It's a big deal. But you have a nice community in the backfield. And if CJ Stroud is who they say he is through the air with the weapons that he has, including guys like Dalton Schultz at the tight end spot that we haven't talked about. Great receiving option at the tight end spot. You got like 5 different receivers that you can count on. And then you'll get Tank Dell back at a certain point. So there's really, in my opinion, no excuses. And I think even when you take it even further to the other side of the football, I think that's really where there's no excuses, man.
There's a lot of names on that defensive
side. There's a lot of names, and they brought in more names on that defense. It's looking sturdy. They're led by D'Amico Ryans. That's they get that identity from their head coach. You look at what they did in the postseason. CJ Stroud didn't have like this otherworldly game in the postseason for them to get that W against the Chargers. 32-12, by the way. No, that was Justin Herbert going out and getting
like what, five
picked off 5 times by that defense. Yeah. And part of it is, Justin Herbert, the playoff shortcomings. Some of it's that. Some of it's just that defense getting after it, putting pressure on him, putting him in bad spots. And so with all that said, you look at what that defense was able to put together last year. You add more to it this year. There's just the only question mark you can really go to with this Texans team is maybe running the football, but then right there is CJ Stroud. And I think it's a fair question. I predict that he's going to answer the question, but we got to see it, man. And he's gonna get that opportunity this year for sure.
He had a very good rookie year, and then you added to that roster, right?
Yeah.
You brought in Joe Mixon. You brought in Stephon Diggs. I know guys were injured last year as well. That defense, Danielle Hunter came over, different things like that. The completion percentage went down. The passing yards went down. The touchdowns went down. The quarterback rating went significantly down. The interceptions went significantly up, and you added more. They won the division, yes. They won a playoff game, yes. They were a 10-7 football team. The talent on this football team, defensively, a Nico Collins, a pair of Joe Mixon and Nick Chubb, this needs to be higher than a 10-win football team, no?
Yeah. Yeah,
so
in this division.
They're not.
Yeah.
What is the thing holding them back?
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I agree with you. I think offense.
Well. I just remember you and I texting, and it had a little bit to do with this, right? We threw money on it over, or we had the Texans cut, whatever it was. But I just remember, like, the Texans offense struggling on primetime or a couple different nights. And me and you were going back and forth, like, man, this offense isn't good.
It's a joke.
They have too many names to not be good.
Because Joe Mixon had a great season last year, right? If I'm
ran the ball, the offense performed.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm kind of hinting at here. So we'll see what CJ Stroud looks like in year number 3. It's a big year for quarterbacks all around.
Is Nico Collins, is he top 10 for you? Like, where does he come in?
I'd have
top
to go
15?
through it. He's without a doubt top 15. I think people are very quick to say a lot of guys are top 10. Like, that's just the benchmark when there's only a certain amount of spots. So I'd have to go through as we get into our player rankings later in August where I have him. But I'd say he's probably around there. I would say you could probably put Nico Collins anywhere from like 8 to like 11-ish in that range, most likely. But I'd have to think a little bit more in depth about it. But it's a big year for him as well, dude, because you're not going to have Tank Dell. They won't have Tank Dell right away, or am I tripping?
Not right away, no.
Yeah,
he's coming off
that leg injury was this past
injury.
Season,
right? And I think that was a full like fracture.
Yeah. So they're not going to have him probably for a while. So Christian Kirk is brought in. Now, Christian Kirk is no Stephon Diggs, but Stephon Diggs, I believe, also he got hurt last year too, didn't he?
Yeah, he's been in and out. So
that's another thing you have to take into account with that Houston team, man. But moving forward here, this Jacksonville team, there was a very quick changing of the guard in the AFC South ever since CJ Stroud did come in. So that is to give him credit because this was Trevor Lawrence's division. Doug Peterson signed on the dotted line to go over there a few years ago and coach that Jacksonville team. And you thought this is the year. And then they had that crazy playoff comeback against, again, Justin Herbert and the Chargers. Hilarious. But they had that ridiculous second half comeback. And just like that, it's the Texans division. The Jaguars are down here. A former Jaguar, Christian Kirk, is now on the Texans.
Yeah.
And Trevor Lawrence's future, it's in question, is it not? Talk about a guy that was like hopeful top 5. Trevor Lawrence is in a top 10 quarterback, a top 12 quarterback right now.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence is probably as middle of the pack as you want to get for a guy that was supposed to have a ceiling that you should just shoot through the roof with.
Yeah, no, and when this guy was when he was at Clemson, I mean, I thought the world of him, dude. I thought he was like the next coming of that next great prototypical dual threat quarterback. He can use his legs, he can get out of the pocket. It just hasn't come together for him. And maybe it was the coaching when Doug Peterson got there and you bring in Press Taylor as like the offensive coordinator. We went through that up here. We went through some headaches. Maybe just giving him, once again, benefit of the doubt. Maybe it was coaching. We got to find out this season. I think even more, way more than a CJ Stroud, like in his 3rd season. Yeah. We're looking at Trevor Lawrence. How many seasons is Trevor Lawrence? Let me get this right. I should have looked at this before we came in.
2020? I feel like he was in like the 2018 or 2019 national championship with Clemson.
This is his 5th year.
Yeah, so 2020.
Yeah. So he's 25, right? He's 25. When you get into that 25, 26, I think that's when.
How old is? That's another thing that's hilarious. How old is Jaden Daniels? I know, like I'm getting 24? Way off. Jaden Daniels is like 25, bro. If I'm correct.
24. He's a.
I gotta check this out.
Yeah, it's hilarious though.
He's 24. He turns 25 in
24.
Turns 25 in December.
And Jalen was 25 last season.
But to your point, Trevor Lawrence, like we're crushing Trevor Lawrence right now. Year 5, he's got to figure it out. It's essentially the same age as the dude that.
How do you feel about it? Like, does he though? Like when you put it that way, like
no, he has to. Yes,
because it's just how many years has he been in the NFL? He's been in the NFL 4 times as many years as Jaden Daniels. So balance it out, like age, experience, right? It's part of it, but I think it's also just the resume that he came into the NFL with, the ability that it appeared that he had.
Yeah.
And even once he's in the NFL, it just feels like it's more just these major brain farts on the field. Like whether it's just bonehead turnover, falling on the ground and like losing the ball yourself without being touched. Like just always the craziest things happening to this guy. And I think at a certain point you just have to put it together. Now, as you mentioned, they did have a little bit of changing of the guard in a sense, man. I mean, we've seen multiple wide receivers come in and out of here. Evan Ingram is off this team now. He was a main focal point, a major weapon for Trevor Lawrence. On the defensive side, you have Andre Sisco, the safety. He also departed from this team. So you look around, they're bringing in fresh faces. You're going to bring in Travis Hunter. Is Travis Hunter the answer? Is he the offensive answer? Is he the defensive answer? This is where it gets confusing for me because I don't believe that you can do that. I don't think that you can do it. I don't care what he's done in college.
Yeah,
I don't care.
I'm of the same belief, bro.
I don't even care if he had a bigger frame, man. Like I don't think AJ Brown could do it. I don't think he could. And that's saying a lot given AJ Brown's frame, right? And I saw I think it was Devontae Adams came out and spoke on it recently. I think it was on NFL Network, and he shared his thoughts about it's already you're already basically 99.9% guaranteed to get injured when you step on the field.
Yeah. Just
on one side of the ball.
Yeah.
What do the odds go to when you're playing on both sides of the ball when he has to tackle fucking Derrick Henry, dude?
Right. And not like, would you try a situation? Because there are a lot of people that I've seen, a lot of analysts out there that say if he's one thing, he's a corner.
Interesting.
That's what I've seen. And if that's the case, are there packages you allow him to play at wide receiver?
Yeah, I think that's when you phrase it like that, that sounds like the best.
I agree with you. There's no way you could take his workload from Colorado and put it at this level. It's not happening, bro.
And if you're that young player, man, like I don't know about you playing sports, you kind of like to have the ball in your hands. Yeah. Defensive back, you're not going to touch. If you're good at your job, you're not going to see the ball that often, even coming your way. So I just don't know how that adjustment works as like a young player who has played both sides. It's different when you've played corner your entire collegiate career. You get used to just focusing on that. But as a guy that was getting just hand-fed, spoon-fed the ball at Colorado, how is he okay with just, doing partial, different, sets that he gets to be a part of? Or is he going to want that full workload? I guess what I'm trying to say is if I was him, I would want to play wide receiver full-time rather than play corner full-time. Yeah, like, I don't know, but I guess that just comes down to your mentality, your preference on the field. But it's an interesting thought.
When we get to our tiers, I think Jacksonville is in the perfect way to describe Jacksonville is no man's land.
Yeah, I do agree. Because even like to be fair to Trevor Lawrence compared to the Texans, what do we really figure out with the Jags this year in Trevor Lawrence? Like, if they're not successful, if the offense isn't rolling, does that really mean that Trevor Lawrence isn't the guy? Because he doesn't even have what he's had in the past around him. So I don't even know if it's fair to say everything. It's just the amount of time he's been in the league. Maybe it's not make it or break it for his career, but it's make it or break it in Jacksonville. Like whether it's them wanting to move on from him or him wanting to get out of Jacksonville and try something new. This is gonna tell the future for Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville. But yeah, I agree. No man's land. Perfect for the Jags.
Ryan Thomas Jr., man.
He's a guy. Yeah. He's a guy. He's a guy.
There's people that love him already.
Yeah.
Love him after a year.
Yeah, I can't tell you where I would put him in wide receiver. Like he's not top 20. Like I can't even say top 20 definitively. I mean, like you said,
I would say between 15 and 20. Like probably.
It's the guy that I always think about, and obviously it's close to our hearts. But Devontae Smith, like,
right?
Is he top 10? He's got to be top 15 by skill, right? Like,
yeah, he's right inside the 15.
But skill, production, it is hard to measure with wide
receivers are one of the toughest position groups for me to rank because there's just so much talent in this league still, dude.
Like how much of Jamar Chase is Jamar Chase versus Joe Burrow? Do you know what I mean? And that goes across the board. Don't get me wrong. That's where you're getting really into the fine margins. But
yeah, this is getting way off topic, so we could talk about this after the recording. But as Eagles fans, we kind of relate and take everything to heart, right? Because remember the passing game quote that AJ Brown had, and the national media picked it up, and what's happening in the Eagles locker room? I saw a clip before we started to record here of Jamar Chase. Did you see that?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll talk about that when we get to that division.
Refresh me. What exactly did he say?
Essentially, I'd have to go back and listen to it. Essentially, I think the tea leaves are the offense is built like through him. Like his quarterback's as good because of how good he is.
I'm with you.
Just saying, if a certain other wide receiver made a comment like that,
all
the world would burn down. So,
all hell would. Yeah.
But anyway, man, we'll pick up the tempo here because there's not much I had to say about these last two teams before we get into the tier rankings and the fantasy draft. Tennessee, I will say this, is much more intriguing to me than Indianapolis is. I think Indianapolis will be a better football team this year, but Tennessee obviously has the higher upside moving forward. Cam Ward, number 1 overall pick. Initial thoughts, man. What did he throw for? 39 tutties last year? 39 touchdowns at Miami, 7 picks. He never threw double-digit picks. 9's the most he had back in 2022 at Washington State. Number 1 overall pick for a reason, brother. Is he the guy to take this Tennessee roster and take it to the next level moving forward?
I'll put it this way. I don't know for a fact that he's going to be the guy, but if I was a Tennessee Titans fan, I would wholeheartedly believe that he's going to be the guy. And I say that because not only the resume from his last season at Miami, which I think that kind of speaks for itself. Like Miami, maybe back in the day they were a highly renowned collegiate program, but they're not that hot these days. So for him to kind of play that way on that team and kind of raise their play up a level shows me that he could do that in the NFL with a team like the Titans here. It's his mentality, man. The things I've heard him, the way it's his approach is the best way to put it. He's a very quiet guy. You haven't heard him doing all the talking. His press conferences don't go nationwide because he's not going to say anything too interesting.
Right.
And I just look at a guy like Caleb Williams, right, who, whatever, he's still a very talented guy. I'm not out on Caleb Williams by any means, but not a fan of his approach per se, coming into the league and the way he handled things. And I think Cam Ward has handled himself so much better, so much more maturely. And from what I've heard, at training camp, he is lighting the shit up from what I've heard. Obviously, we got to see it play out in regular season. But I think the biggest thing, man, because I am kind of like, I'm not going to say I'm like high on the Titans. It's not like that. They're sneaky, though. They're sneaky. They could sneak up on this division. They could.
I'm glad you said that because when I say the question I'm about to ask you, it's not to say, is there enough, there for him to, when I say the word succeed, get to the playoffs or anything. But you have Calvin Ridley. They brought in a veteran in Tyler Lockett. They brought in a decent slot option in Van Jefferson, who's played with a lot of different really good quarterbacks. You have the duo of Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears back there still. When I say is there enough, what I mean is there enough there in Tennessee for Cam Ward to succeed year one, to show the flashes he needs to show as the guy, right? Not because remember the Eagles, Carson Wentz comes in year one, and Carson Wentz showed he was the guy, but Jordan Matthews was wide receiver one.
Yeah.
Like, is this depth chart, is there enough for them to produce offensively for him to show what he's supposed to be?
I think what gets undersold just way too often is offensive line. Like, we know firsthand like how important that is. So I think that's the big caveat. Let's just say the offensive line is good enough, right? I do think everything else is set for not for them to make the playoffs or win the division even, but say they come out of this season with, 6, 7, maybe 8 wins. I'm not going to go that far.
I'd say like 6
or 7 wins. That's success on the year. And I do think
going from
he has like the balance around him that I do think there's enough there for him to show flashes where they come out of this season saying, we got to add in this spot. We got to add in this spot, and we're going to be rolling with this guy. I do think there's enough to say that. And the last thing I'll throw in there for the Titans, man, don't they just wish they had A.J. Brown? God, wouldn't that just sound so lovely right now? Who knows where their team would be if they had ever kept him. But, man, wouldn't that be a rookie quarterback's best friend? They did add Kevin Zeitler, offensive guard in free agency. So that was they tried to address some issues there. But I do think it'll come down to the offensive line. To your point, I have a lot more faith in Cam Ward in the unknown than I do in the situation in Indianapolis. Where
let's get into it, bro. Because
talk about
I'm looking at our tier ranking where we put them, and I'm not going to lie to you. I'm close to adjusting it because I'm looking at this Indy team, and maybe I'm not giving them enough respect defensively. They're not very good, brother. I'll say this. If there are questions as to whether or not Daniel Jones can compete for the starting job in Indy, you don't have a quarterback.
Yeah.
You can kiss Anthony Richardson's future goodbye. If it's even a question that Daniel Jones could come in and take that job starting week one, you don't have a quarterback. They also drafted Riley Leonard out of Duke. You don't have a quarterback in Indianapolis right now. Your number one option is Michael Pittman Jr. Doing the show with me for the last 2 years, I am not a Michael Pittman Jr. guy. I think he's a fine wide receiver. If he was Indy's number 2, he'd be one of the best number 2s in football. He is nowhere near a wide receiver 1. You go down the list, Alec Pierce is there again, Josh Downs. They did bring in our boy from Penn State, Tyler Warren. We'll see what he looks like. But their offense is bad, bro.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be really, really bad. Defensively, maybe I'm not respecting them enough. They were an 8-win team last year. I just look at this roster. Jonathan Taylor, I got you. I do not like this Indianapolis Colts team at all.
Yeah, I will say this, man, just to make it a little more positive. You mentioned one guy, and it's Tyler Warren. I think we'll see. You don't want to put too much on his shoulders in his rookie year, but, I mean, we saw Brock Bowers out in Las Vegas. Like, it's kind of like that, right? Like, Vegas sucked ass last year. They were not fun to watch. But Brock Bowers was a fucking monster to the point where he's a top 5, top 3 tight end already. In it, top 3, maybe I'm stretching it too far. Maybe I'm going too quickly. Top 5, definitely. 100%, right? Top 3, I start to think, like
Kittle,
Travis Kelce's still top 3, like he is, right? Like George Kittle. I don't know. We would have to get into that deeper, but Tyler Warren, I do think, has that resume that he comes in with where maybe not as superb as Brock Bowers, but who knows, man? Who knows? Because tight ends can hit the ground running. They're already physically built for the NFL when they come in most of the time. So we'll see what he can do, because the reason I bring him up, your tight end can be your safety valve. Your tight end can change an offense if he can find those niche spots in the offense. The key is, man, and it's almost why I would lean more towards like just giving Daniel Jones a shot, having a quarterback that can dump it off and find him. Like I think Daniel Jones showed a little bit in New York that he can run a quick read offense, right? Where, maybe you're working with that dual threat ability with Jonathan Taylor in the backfield, a lot of misdirection, a lot of play action. But I don't know. I guess best case scenario for the Colts is that Anthony Richardson shows you something this year and you're able to run a dual threat offense with him and Jonathan Taylor. I'm with you. Like I said, I would probably go Daniel Jones, but
either way, you don't have a quarterback in Indy. You don't have a wide receiver one. The rest of your wide receiver core is not good enough.
Yeah.
Your running backs still very good, but defensively, we'll see. Is there a chance that Tennessee puts together a better record than Indy this year? I know it's a big drop-off. 8 wins for Indy last year, almost a 500 team coming in second. 3 wins, number 1 overall pick. A lot of expectations put on a Cam Ward. But I really do not like this Indy offense. Maybe I'm being too disrespectful to the defense.
The Indianapolis Colts, the reason I can't say that definitively, although I would prefer to watch the Titans this season over the Colts.
Yeah, I agree.
I can't promise you that the Titans are going to put together more wins just because the Colts, they are like the epitome of like dead in the water, like no man's land, like winning for no reason. Yeah. Like, why did they have 8 wins last year?
Yeah,
why?
Agreed.
For what? Like, were you going to make the playoff? Like, for what? And I think that's exactly what they could end up in this year. Like, tough defense, maybe play teams close and get a few lucky wins here and there. And they seem to do that every year is what I'm trying to say. They find a way to somehow not be bottom of the pit.
Let's take a look at where this AFC South division ranks for us across the entire NFL landscape. So since this is our first division that we're putting to the list, you're only going to see these 4 teams. Let's see if this works out. Works out pretty well graphic-wise. But as you see, there's 5 tiers. We have Super Bowl champions, teams that we believe are going to be in the running for a Lombardi trophy this year. Playoff contenders, could win the division, could win a playoff game, but we don't quite see them getting over the hump and getting to their conference championship or their Super Bowl. No man's land. Probably the worst place to be other than stinks, Scotty. Like, I know it's ranked above better than last year, but no man's land is a tough place to be. There's no direction right now for the organization. Better than last year, and then just absolutely stinks, the worst of the worst in the NFL. No Super Bowl champs are coming out of the AFC South. Sorry if you're a Texans fan. We got you as a playoff contender. I think Scotty believes you're going to win your division again. Can you be better than 10-7? Can CJ Stroud win you 11, possibly 12 games? I haven't really taken a look at their schedule, but that needs to be in the conversation because, again, you're not just competing to be a playoff contender, right? Yeah. If you're Houston, you're competing to be on that level above. You're competing with the Joe Burrows, the Lamar Jacksons, the Patrick Mahomes, the Josh Allens of the AFC. Seeing if you have your guy with those weapons is big. Better than last year. I think we agree. Tennessee going to win more than 3 games. Cam Ward with a little bit of extra help at the wide receiver position. Maybe they win 5, maybe 6. 6 might be a little generous. 5 and 12 for the Titans this year. Maybe 6 and 11 could be in that ballpark. And then no man's land. Jacksonville, I think, is the perfect definition of that kind of team. But Indy, man, if you had to redo this graphic, I'll put you on the spot here. Would you drop them or no? And obviously they wouldn't drop to better than last year because that would be an upgrade to what we're talking about.
No, I wouldn't drop them to stinks because I think in these other divisions we'll find some teams that like really stink. Mm-hmm. So I don't want to undersell stinks tier. You know how bad that can get. I think the Colts, they are in no man's land. Like I said, like you have Jonathan Taylor, you have Anthony Richardson back there, you have Daniel Jones, who's also a dual threat. Maybe this year they put something together where they just run the ball a whole ton, right? Maybe they can have a little bit of success there running the football and playing sturdy defense, get 7 wins. Literally, no man's land, literally. But no, I actually wanted to ask you about the Texans. I agree with everything you said, playoff contenders. In the NFC, would you consider them Super Bowl contenders out of the NFC? Because I think for me in the AFC, it's hard for me to imagine them beating the Chiefs, beating the Ravens, beating the Bills, whoever else you want to throw up top there. But over in the NFC, I mean, Eagles defending champions. But then after that, man, we'll obviously talk about it. But
yeah, I think they would be closer. I just don't know if I trust the team as a whole to be put in that.
Because you're either Super Bowl contender or not.
But that defense could change my mind, man. Like C.J. Gardner-Johnson giving some toughness to the back end. Derek Stingley Jr., if he continues to be a premier corner in the league with that front, with those linebackers coached by D'Amico, if that defense can find its way into being like a top 6-ish type of unit, then that could change things over in the AFC landscape for them. But yeah, I think we have them laid out perfectly. Tennessee, you can make the argument they should still be in the stinks conversation.
Yeah.
But when you have the number 1 overall pick and a potential franchise-altering player at the quarterback position, we would assume you're going to be better than a 3-win team than last year. So you would be, by definition, better than last year.
They stunk so bad, it's hard to not be better.
Stay there.
It's hard to stay there. But I think to your point, they could come out of this season with 4 or 5 wins. But if you know that Cam Ward is that guy, then that itself is better than last year. So I agree ultimately.
All right, man. Last little segment of the show. Let's get into our fantasy draft. So what me and Scotty have done in previous years, we're going to do it again, and we're going to post them to social media so everyone can vote on who has the better team. We are going to draft a quarterback, a running back, 2 receivers, tight end, 2 defensive linemen of our choosing, can be tackles or ends, 1 linebacker, a safety, and 2 cornerbacks. Scotty can kick it off first here in the AFC South, man. Who's the 1-1? Scotty, who is the best football player in the AFC South?
Best football player. That's a great question. My mind immediately goes to quarterback, but I'm trying to think through this here.
And it's strategic too, because what positions have way less depth in this division where you could get a great advantage over me, vice versa type of thing.
That makes it even tougher, actually. Okay. I think I know where I'm gonna go. I think I know.
1-1.
It feels crazy though. Am I tripping with Tyler Warren? Is the 1-1? Am I tripping?
All right, so that's not at all where I thought you were going to go, but I see the logic. I'll see the logic. I'll give you a 10-second timer to think about it. The logic's there if you compare Tyler Warren as a tight end to what.
I'm just going to go with it. I'm going to go with it. This is for fun. Or I'm not going to lose my job. So I'm going to go with Tyler Warren. As crazy as that sounds, rookie tight end.
All right, I don't hate it, man. I don't hate it because you're getting a great advantage over whatever I'm bringing to the table at the tight end position. My first overall pick is going to be. You know what? Give me Nico Collins.
I thought about him. I did. I did.
So depending where you go here, I'm going to ask you a follow-up question. But who are you leaning towards for number 2?
It's interesting because I'm kind of going off your pick, and I'm going to go Brian Thomas here.
All right. So that's what. So at the 1-1, was there any thought given the quarterback, or is it like somewhat close? All right.
Absolutely, and I mean, I guess even with my second pick, I could have went that route. I just like having that wide receiver.
I'm still not going yet. I'm still not going there yet, man. For my second overall pick, see, this is tough for me because I'm not looking at their production. Hold on. So he had 12. He had 1 tackle. What do he have? 3. All right. Give me. He's a beast too, though. Give me Danielle Hunter.
Okay.
There's a lot of talent on the defensive line in Houston. I was kind of figuring out who I like the most there, but I'll go with Hunter.
And I think, okay, I'm just double checking something here. What are we marking Will Anderson as? Because that's who I want. I want Will Anderson.
I'll leave that up to you. You can either put him as your one specific linebacker, or you can put him as a defensive line because of an edge rusher type of situation.
So in ESPN, they have him listed as left defensive end.
All right, so we'll go with line then. We'll go with defensive line.
So Will Anderson will be my first lineman.
All right, Will Anderson,
nagging
Scotty.
the Houston players.
Yeah, I know. All right. Well, I guess let me go ahead and check what he's listed at. Damn. I'll go by the ESPN list. So, is that the smart pick, though? Yeah. All right. I'm going to take Travis Hunter, and I'm going to put him at wide receiver because that's where they got him listed.
Fair enough.
I was going to sneak him in at my cornerback position, but I'll go with the list.
That's not. Yeah, I was like going back and forth with which one. I'm actually just double checking because I'm curious at this point, but I feel like I am gonna take my man CGJ.
All right, take him as your safety.
Is he the best safety in this division? Like, am I tripping? Like, I feel like I'm sleeping on somebody. Maybe.
I don't think so, bro.
Like when you look across the division,
you're looking at Amani Hooker and Xavier Woods in Tennessee.
Eric Murray in Jacksonville.
I'm not even focused on Indianapolis' safeties.
Yeah, Indianapolis.
Yeah, he probably is, Scotty. He probably is.
Yeah, so I'm going with CGJ as my safety.
Right. I like it. I'm going to follow that up with, is he who I really want? Is he the best safety or the best corner? Is L'Jarius Sneed just kind of like fallen off since he left Kansas City?
I don't know that he fell off. I think it's more just like that team just was ass, man. So like when your team is ass, like you're just not going to be highly regarded as a corner.
I'm going to take Derek Stingley as my first corner.
Okay. I was curious what you said, L'Jarius Sneed, because I was definitely going to take Stingley myself here. I'm going to. Let me go ahead and just grab CJ. Let me get CJ.
I tried to wait one more pick. I wasn't sure when you were going to do it. He is the best quarterback in the draft. I just was looking elsewhere.
It's like, is he that much better?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he has to be. Cam Ward hasn't proven a damn thing so far. Yeah, on that note, to get ahead of you, let me take Jonathan Taylor.
Fair enough. Interesting. Who are the other running backs? You got Tony Pollard.
They're not bad. Tony Pollard, Travis Etienne. You could still take Joe Mixon or Nick Chubb.
He's injured, but still. I'm going to go. Let me just see what position. Okay, so he's a left defensive end as well. I'm going to go with Josh Allen, though. Josh Hines Allen.
Josh Hines Allen. I was looking at that as well.
Just tearing up my edge rushers.
Yeah. Let me see here. I can go there. What was he last year?
It's one linebacker for the Texans, man. He'd be out there like punching people in the face and shit.
Aziz. Yeah. Damn. Dude, this next position, can't decide who I'd rather have. So I'm just going to share it with the listeners and you. I am between Jeffrey Simmons in Tennessee and DeForest Buckner / Kwity Paye in Indianapolis.
Damn. Off the top of my head.
Buckner had 6.5 sacks last year. Kwity Paye had 8 and a forced fumble. Jeffrey Simmons is more the name, but he had a pretty down year last year. I think he only had like 5 sacks.
I feel like I would go Buckner off the top of my head, quite honestly.
Yeah, Scotty's probably leading me in the wrong direction on purpose, but I'm going to go with DeForest.
No, I thought about him myself because I do think he is still one of the top defensive tackles in the league, honestly. So now it's interesting. I got 2 corners, but you already got your 2 corners.
Right, so you can kind of wait. Or no, I only have 1 corner. I only have 1.
Ah, yeah, because you don't.
I have 2 linemen. Yeah,
I got you. So let me just look up here. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Zaire Franklin as my linebacker from Indy.
All right. We have a guest appearance here. Get out of here, dude. It ain't playtime, brother. All right, so are you locking in Zaire?
Yeah. Get my linebacker out the way.
Then, you know what? I'm going to take L'Jarius Sneed.
Fair enough. That's a really good pick, actually.
Say what's up. Say what's up.
All right. So you got Stingley.
I got Stingley and Sneed in my secondary.
Sneed. So definitely the 2 best. I'll dig back into the well. You got a former Super Bowl champion, Charvarius Ward, as my first corner.
All right. Charvarius Ward. Now I'm still looking for a linebacker, and I have a bad feeling they're a little rough in this division.
Yeah.
They sure are, brother.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, do I just take Aziz?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I'll go with Aziz.
Yeah, I think so. He's violent, but that's a good thing at the end of the day. I don't penalize him too much. I'll go wide receiver. I'll go Calvin Ridley, second wide receiver.
All right. Ridley. Now I gotta go back here. I'll go with Almani Hooker. That's my safety.
Fair enough.
He had 5 picks last year. I'll take it.
So my next corner, I am gonna go with the other Houston corner, which is Kamari Lassiter. I'm going with some youth here. 22 years old, out of Georgia.
Now the
3 interceptions last year.
The good news is I get to figure out what tight end I want. Do I want
good luck
Okonkwo? Do I want I'll just take Dalton Schultz.
Yeah. That sounds good. Tennessee.
And this is your last pick.
Yeah, I actually already have it written down. I'm going with Joe Mixon. I'll take him as my running back.
All right.
It was tough. It was between him and ETN.
And now to wrap up the AFC South drafts, I'm going to take Cam Ward.
Fair enough.
So Cam Ward and CJ Stroud battle it out, and Trevor Lawrence gets left off the list.
That's what I would have went with too, though. Honestly, man, I would have went Cam Ward as well. So No, I honestly, if I can't remember every pick, but I think just off the top of my head, I think you might have beat me in this one.
I don't know, dude. I don't know if there's a winner coming out of this division. If this division is as tough as it gets to be. Well, I say that until we get into the NFC partner of the South, and we'll see which is more difficult to pick.
Yeah,
but it's
that
gonna
one
be rough regardless.
That one's gonna be rough. Yeah. But
guys,
we got more out of this than I thought we would. Out of this division, man.
Make sure to follow on Twitter at DSM_media. Subscribe to the Turf Talk YouTube channel. And this will be pre-recorded. So if you are commenting live and we are not answering you right now, this is pre-recorded, just so you know. Probably should have said that in the first minute and not the last 50 seconds. But
we love you all out there.
Yeah.
For sure.
So when Martian gets confused what's going on, he's going to be on edge for a little bit.
We'll be live during the season, though. Yes. Every Sunday.
Yes, every Sunday.
Yes, sir.
Peace out.
Peace, everybody.